So Candace has been in the news in multiple ways today. There is a CNN interview with Candace Owens, but Candace has been dismantling MAGA for the better part of 2 months, and she's been making a lot of money doing it, okay? #1 podcast, starting all the conspiracy theories. She has been an active MAGA destroyer, okay? Along with others. Nick Fuentes has been in on this. Tucker Carlson is certainly in on this. You know, Laura Loomer's doing her Trumpian version of it. They're all at each other's throats. You have like Megyn Kelly and Mark Levin. And I mean, everybody is going to town. And this goes all the way up, right? The people at the Heritage Foundation have had to deal with Tucker Carlson platforming Nick Fuentes and then having to like backtrack because he doesn't want to lose his evangelical Zionist donors. And so they are now having the big, like, Netanyahu-Israel split, and they are having the H-1B visas split, and they are having the Who Killed Charlie Kirk split, and you know, money to Argentina split, and, you know, Congress not codifying any of the executive orders, and then the Epstein files is like this foundational shift where for the first time, they realize that Trump's not on their side and that Trump is essentially part of the deep state. And whether MAGA admits it, I don't think a lot of them are admitting it, but I will say, as an alcoholic who had not yet admitted I was an alcoholic when I first went to AA, I can tell you on a subliminal level, somewhere behind the noise, every MAGA person out there now knows that Trump is part of the deep state. And in fact, maybe is the deepest of the deep state. And they just know it. Even if they haven't admitted it to themselves, they know that, like, wait a second, this guy is not at all what he said he is. He is the swamp. But now, with all of that going on, guys, they are gunning for Candace, okay? Because Candace Owens is the biggest danger right now. I think Tucker Carlson is #2, but Candace Owens is the biggest fucking danger to MAGA, the MAGA movement. She is like just gutting and disrupting and turning people against Trump, turning people against MAGA, turning people against Turning Point USA. She is like getting millions of views. People like me and a whole bunch of other content creators are amplifying her shit because we realize that she's burning it down. So we're like, fuck yeah, let's go get to the fire, get a couple cocktails in ourselves, right? Let's take advantage of this. But now they're gunning for her, guys. And in particular, she did this CNN interview, which I believe was old. I think they recorded this in like the end of September. They're releasing it now, but there's a couple pieces that are hitting the internet today that are really, this is about how she's starting to be sort of exposed and set up.
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious. And
your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law enforcement?
Leaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson has.
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides,
Well,
Dude, this interviewer like set her up, okay? Set her up because we're seeing how subjective everything that Candace is presenting. Now, you know, you could sit and have a discussion about many pieces of evidence that seem, you know, questionable and talk into it. And again, this is an edit, so we don't know. I haven't seen the whole interview yet. They have obviously edited this to be very sharply like Candace is a scoundrel. Now, again, though, guys, this is targeted, okay? This is targeted. There is a big beef with Candace Owens and her anti-Israel stance. That is something that is very problematic for the evangelical billionaires that are funding the right-wing party. And yes, she is very anti-Semitic. So is Tucker Carlson. But so they are trying to gut her because she is exacerbating this Israel situation. The reporter has an agenda here, okay? The reporter has a very distinct agenda here, gutting Candace Owens. If you look at 𝗙𝗟𝗏, she is, you know, author of Black Pill, How I Witnessed the Darkest Corners of the Internet Come to Life, Poison Society, and Capture American Politics. So she has written some books about conspiracy theory stuff, but I feel like there is a distinct Netanyahu angle here at play, trying to trap Candace Owens because they want to make sure that Candace Owens gets lumped in with Nick Fuentes. And I mean, she probably should. Like, let's be honest. Like, Candy is out there and like way out. But they are distinctly attacking her to try to shore up. They want to prevent the Tucker, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes section of MAGA from taking too much power. The problem with this is, like, I feel like the most powerful voices in MAGA are obviously Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Outside of Donald Trump, okay? Candace and Tucker Carlson are like the biggest fucking voices. They are the biggest, like they're the ones, they can go off the rails and nobody can really stop them because of the size and the vehemence of their audience, okay? They're not beholden to Donald Trump. They are outside of MAGA. Like a lot of the MAGA, if you look at like Benny Johnson, you look at Nick Sortor, you look at, you know, Laura Loomer, you look at all these junior people, and they are puppets. They are puppets of Trump. Now, even with Tucker and him lying about the election and shit and getting booted from Fox, Tucker was pretty clear that he didn't like Trump and that he thinks Trump is a bullshit artist. And he was only like, you know, spreading that shit to rally the base and to hold power. But like Tucker Carlson thinks Trump is a shithead. You know, these people, like, I don't know, they've been just using each other for power for a long time, really. And now that Trump's power is like running out, it's everybody's baring their teeth, really.
I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world and we know how stories get shut down.
So CNN is pretty fucking dirty for this because they paywalled this shit. Okay, so CNN, you ready? I mean, this is capitalism, guys. Okay, CNN got Candace Owens to agree to an interview, and then they released it under a paywall because they're trying to use Candace Owens to get a bunch of people to subscribe to their all access shit. You see what's going on? So they're just trying to monetize Candace. So they're being as controversial as possible, hoping a whole bunch of Candy Owens people sign up to CNN behind the paywall to like watch Candace Owens. So all of this shit is just propaganda on top of propaganda on top of propaganda on top of propaganda on top of, you know, chaos. Dude, it is, I mean, welcome to late stage capitalism. But so they definitely went back and forth, and Candace Owens said, my CNN interview was booked before Charlie died. It was related to my book launch. We kept the interview, which took place 20 days after he passed. So this interview was in September. And we told him in writing multiple times I wanted no questions about Charlie. Despite this, CNN and violated our requests and asked about him once cameras were rolling. So then the reporter struck back and said, for clarity, Owens did agree to talk about Charlie before the interview. And then it says, so long as Charlie is discussed in a tasteful way, that's fine. I understand you have to ask. I would just keep it to 1 or 2 questions about his passing. She's still in mourning, so it's a sensitive topic. Now, this is interesting because those questions weren't about his passing. Those questions were about like her takes on the investigation. Now, here's where I get intrigued, guys, because I'm wondering, why did they wait so long to release this? It's like they held it until like whatever, the time was right. There's some play going on here, okay? Because they are definitely trying to gut Candace Owens. Now, you know, here's the thing. I don't care if they gut Candace Owens, because we know Candace is crooked and we know her sources are trust me, bro. And we know she's a conspiracy theorist and she's full of shit. But what I don't want is I don't want to lose her burning down MAGA, okay? I don't want her to lose burning down MAGA. You know, I want to keep that going.